Hi, this is Olajide from CTF Security and welcome to day 7 of TryAcme Advent of Cyber 2023. In today's video, we will revisit the significance of log files, understanding their importance for system activities and security. Secondly, understanding what proxies are and analyzing their appearance and structure. Then we will build some command line skills, enabling manual parsing of log entries. Then lastly, we will equip ourselves with the skills to effectively filter through large log file entries, pinpointing specific information and accurately identifying malicious traffic. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, welcome back to today's task. As you can see, the tagline for today is the season of log chopping. And by the right corner of the screen here, we have our start machine button. So I'm going to quickly click on that. And this is going to split our screen with our virtual machine by the right. Now, when we scroll down to take a look at the storyline for today's task, and it says, to take revenge for the company demoting him to regional manager during the acquisition, Tracy McGrady installed the crypto miner, a malware he downloaded from the dark web, on all workstations and servers. Even more worrying and unknown to McGrady, this malware includes a data stealing functionalities which the malware author benefit from. The malware has been executed and now a lot of unusual traffic is being generated. What's more, a large bandwidth of data is seen to be leaving the network. Forensic McBlue assembled a team to analyze the proxy log and understand the suspicious network. Now, basically, what is happening here is the case of a disgruntled employee, which is McGrady, and he went ahead to install some crypto miner malware on the company systems and servers for him to be able to use the system resources to mine cryptocurrencies. But unknown to him that the malware also contains some additional functionalities which allow the author to steal data within the organization. So we have been charged to analyze the proxy log and understand the suspicious network traffic. So that is our basic objective in this task. We have first part of our task description and it says log primer. And this is going to introduce us to what log files are. Before analyzing a data set of proxy logs, let's revisit what log files are. A log file is like a digital trail of what's happening behind the scene in a computer or software application. It records important events, actions, errors, or information as they happen. It helps diagnose problem, monitor performance, and record what a program or application is doing. For clarity, let's look at a quick example. So this example above is an entry from an Apache web server log. Now, if we take a look at this example that we have here, we have, for example, a source IP address, we have a timestamp here, and we have our HTTP request here up to this point here. Then we have our status code, and then we have our user agent here. That is basically what we have here on the description table here. Now, if we scroll down here, we'll now go into detail what a proxy server is. Since the data to be analyzed is a proxy server, we must understand what a proxy server is. Now, think of a proxy server as an intermediary between your computer or device and the internet. When you request information or access a web page, your device connects to the proxy server instead of connecting directly to the target server. The proxy server then forwards your request to the internet, receives the response, and sends it back to your device. To visualize this, let's see our diagram that we have here. So you can see the case of a proxy server, and you can see when we are not using a proxy server here. So a user standing here sends an information through to the internet, and the proxy server is going to intercept this request, then forward this request to the internet. At the same time, when the internet is responding back to the user, it receives the information, then forward it back to the user. In the case of connection without the proxy server, the information just directly connect to the internet. Now let's see what else we have. A proxy server offers enhanced visibility into network traffic and user activity since it all logs the web request. And that means since all information are passing through the log server, it has the ability to log all the activities. This enables system administrators and security analysts to monitor which website user access, when, and how much bandwidth is used. It also allows administrators to enforce policies and block specific websites or content categories. Given that our task is hunting suspicious activities on the proxy log, we need to know what possible malicious activity can be seen inside one. Now we have about 4 categories of some type of malicious activities that can be found in log files. The very first attack technique is download attempt of a malicious binary, and the potential indicator for this is connection to a known malicious URL binary. This is when an attacker is attempting to download a malicious file into the organization system, and this is an example of the URI which we could have www.theevilwebapplication.com/the malicious file.exe in the case of Windows executable malicious file. The second one is data exfiltration. This involves when attacker is trying to steal data out of the system. Now, the potential indicator for this is high count of outbound bandwidth due to file upload. So what they are trying to do is they are trying to either taking data into the network or take out data from the network. So when you start receiving high amount of bandwidth from the proxy log file, you begin to wonder if data exfiltration is going on. And the last one is continuous C2 connection. And the potential indicator for this is high count of outbound connection to a single domain in a regular interval. For example, you could have connection every 5 minutes to a single domain within the log files. So these are all potential indicators where we could detect some of the attack techniques we just mentioned earlier. Now let's take a look at what else we do have. Now the next part is talking about assessing the data set we are going to be working on in this task. We must understand the log content to work on the data set provided. To make things fun, let's start playing with it by clicking the Start Machine button, which we have done already, and our machine has successfully logged on. So let's go to the next part. Alright, so the VM contains a proxy log file in the /home/ubuntu/desktop/artifact. So let's quickly go there. I'll just fire up the terminal from the virtual machine and let's see where we are currently. We are on the /home/ubuntu, so we need to go to desktop/artifact. So cd desktop/artifact, and when we ls here, you can see that we have the access log. I can try to view what we have here. Cat access log, just use tab to complete it, and this is going to list what we have. Now because of one reason or the other, I'm not going to be working on the TryAcme virtual machine, so I'm going to download this file to my system locally. Then we're going to be accessing and filtering through the logs through my local system. So to do that, I'm just going to fire up the Python server. So Python 3, we're going to specify the module http.server, and this is going to be serving HTTP on any IP address on port 8000. So we're going to go to our local machine now and try to, let's just close this. I can use the browser instead. We'll go to the machine IP address. So we need to figure out that. I can use another tab to check IPA. Now we have our IP address to be 10.10.160. Okay, can I grab that? Let's copy. And we'll go to our new tab and paste this in here. We're going to access it on port 8000. So let's see what we have. Oh, sorry about that. I think the reason why this is not working is because I haven't connected my VPN yet. So let's quickly do that. I'll just cd to my downloads where I have my VPN file. Then I'll use the sudo open VPN, then my VPN file, password. Okay, so we are successfully connected to the VPN, and let's just refresh this now. Okay, good. So we have our log file here because we are serving it from the TryAcme virtual machine here. So what we're going to do is download the log file. So I can basically create a new folder. So let's go to document, AoC. I'll just delete the one I have before. Or let's just create a new one. Let's create a new folder and I'll call it logs. I'm going to create and we're going to save. So this is going to be saved inside the logs directory I just created. So let's take a look at what we've got. So cd document, cd AoC. What do we have? Okay, so we have the log directory, cd logs. All right, so this is our log file from the TryAcme. So I can view it. All right, interesting. So now that we have our log, let's go back to the TryAcme machine. So the first part we have here is view log commands here, and I'm going to open that. But if you have knowledge on some of these Linux commands, you can just skip to the next section. Now this part is just introducing us to some of the Linux commands like the cat, we have the less, we have the head, we have the WC, and we have the NL. So basically, let's just work with the first one. The first one is just cat, and we can just use it to view the content of a text file. For example, our access.log is a text file, so we can just say cat access.log, and you can see it is going to just display the content of that particular access.log file. The second one is the less, and what we use the less to do is to view the content of a file in page. So what it will do is to section the document to different page. So let's see how that works. Let's see. So instead of using cat, let's say less access.log, and you can see this is just going to view a page. Then I can use the tab key to navigate through all the page that we have within that particular file. Just keep pressing it and you're going to have a view of all other sections as well. To exit from the less command, we're just going to use the Q, and this is going to take us out of that Linux command. So let's see the next command that we have. We have the head. The head command lets you view the content at the top of the file, and that is what it does. So you can just go to the terminal. Let's say we want to view the first 10 lines of this log file. So we can say head -n, and then we can say 10, then we specify the access.log, and this is just going to view the first 10 line of the access.log file. So let's go back and see the next command that we have. So the tail is just like the opposite of the head command. We can also use the tail to view the bottom lines. So let's say tail, and this time around let's just pick 2 and access the file. So you can see this is just going to view just 2 lines of the log file that we have here. Let's see, I think we have the last one. The last one is the NL. So what the NL is just going to do is just going to number the lines that you have within the text file. To do this, we can easily say NL, then we pass it to access.log. So you can see it. So it's going to just give number to every lines of the log file. You can see that the last line is 49,081. That is what we have within this log file. So this is the total number of lines we have in the log file. So let's scroll down and see what our next action is. Now that we have started seeing the log content, let's keep learning about them by breaking down each log entries. Now, just like we broke down the Apache web server log earlier, the log we are going to be dealing here, which is the proxy log server, can also be broken down into sections. For example, we have the timestamp, we have the source IP, we have the domain and the port, we have the HTTP method, we have the URI, we have the status code, the response size, and we have the user agent. Now let's scroll down to see a typical example here. So in this case here, we have this as our timestamp, we have this as our source IP, we have this as our domain, we have this as our port, we have this as our HTTP method, we have this as our URI, the 400 is our status code, the 630 here is our response size, and we have this as our user agent. So that is just basically the breakdown of our proxy log we are dealing with. So as you can see in the table above, we can break the log entries down and assign a position to each value so that it can be easily interpreted. Now what basically this is talking about is, let's go to our log file and let's say I want to view the let's just say first two from the top. Now remember, we have this as our timestamp. If we want to use the space delimiter to segment this log file, so we're going to break this down to first column is going to be timestamp, second column is going to be source IP, then we're going to have this as the third column, this as the fourth, the fifth, sixth, seventh, then eighth. So we're going to be having 8 columns within this log file if we're breaking it down with the space delimiter. That is basically what this is explaining. Then we can now use the cut command to hide some of the column and just display the one we want to see. So for example here, let's say we want to just see only the timestamp in the log files. So we can basically do this using the cut command, and the way to go about it is cut, we can specify D for delimiter, then we can specify the space, then we're going to specify the position with the letter F, and then we're going to specify what number of column we want to view. So since the timestamp is the first column, I'm just going to put 1 in here. Then we specify the name of the file, which is access.log. You can see we just displayed only the timestamp for the log file. So we can basically do this for other sections as well. So let's say I want to just view the 8th column. So I'm going to explain why we just have just the Mozilla 5.0 here. We can also have the full context of the user agent. So very soon we're going to be seeing how to do that. So in this case, we are asked to view the column 1, the column 3, and the column 6. So let's just go ahead and do that. So we are using the cut, the D for the delimiter, we are using space as our delimiter, and the position is going to be 1, 3, 6. Did I get that correctly? Yeah. So let's see what that is going to display. So you can see we have our timestamp, we have our domain and the port, then we have our status code. So this is basically how we can hide some part of the log by just segmenting it using the delimiter. Now let's see what our next line of action is going to be. The space delimiter won't work if you plan to get the user agent column, since its value may contain a space just like in the example log. So we want to display the full user agent. And when we're using the space delimiter, we seem to have an issue, which is what I displayed earlier. So let's change this to 8. So instead of having the full user agent, we're just having the Mozilla 5.0. This is because whenever the cut command is trying to break the column using the space delimiter, it encounters a space here which is going to break the proxy log and just display just the Mozilla 5.0. So in order to fix this, we're going to instead break the column. So let's just have a sample of how the entire log look like. Then I'm going to show you what we are going to do. So we want to display the content from here to here. But the issue is within the column, we also have some space here which is going to break every time we attempt to do this. So instead, what we are going to do is, instead of using the space column to break, we are going to use the quote here, which is this symbol here, to break. Now, if we break with this quote, we are going to have just 2 sections. This is going to be our first column now, and this is going to be our second column. Then we can just print out the second column. So let's quickly do this. Instead of breaking with space, I'm going to use the quote, which is the double quote here. And when we try to access, now we're not accessing the 8th column, we'll be accessing the second column here. So you can see now that we have the full user agent being displayed. So what happened if we change from the second position to first position? This is going to display all the log file up until the, you can see it here, up until the status code. Yeah, is it the sorry, I beg your pardon, up until the response size here. So this will be the first column and the user agent is going to be the second column. So that is basically what is being explained right here. Now we also have what we call Linux pipes. So in the previous section, we introduced some Linux commands like the cat, the head, the tail, and the NL. So we're going to be taking a look at some other things here. In Linux or Unix-like operating system, a pipe or this pipe character is a way to connect 2 or more commands to make them work together seamlessly. It allows you to take the output of one command and use it as the input for another command. We will introduce more commands by going through some use cases. So let's take a look at what we're going to be working on. So the first thing we want to do is we have a specific IP address we want to search within this log file, and that IP address is the 10.10.140.96. So we're going to grab it. If we want to use the grep, which is the first option we're going to be working with, grep is just basically a command in Linux that is used to search text within file. So if we go to the terminal here, we can say grep and we paste our command here. Then we put the name of the log file, which is the access.log. If you are dealing with a text, in the case of where what you are searching for is not a number, you can also add the -i to ignore the case character. So what we're going to do is to send this. So you can see this is going to just extract every single line that you have this 10.10.140.96 on the log file and just output it on the screen. So which is basically what has been done here. Okay, what if what we just need is just the first 5 lines and not just the entire lines within the log file? So we can go ahead and pipe the command into the head command, and this is how to go about that. So we'll bring back the last command and we're going to pipe this into the head. We specify number of line, which is 5. Then we just send this, and you can see this is just going to output only the 5 lines of the proxy log. Remember, the head is going to pick from the top of the content. Now if you want to pick from the bottom of the content, you can just simply change this to tail, and you can see this is going to pick from the bottom of the proxy server log file. Now let's go ahead and see what we have next. So you can see basically this is just what we just did. The first command output may have been a little overwhelming. since it provides every connection made by the specific IP, which is what we just did earlier, the 10.10.140.96. Meanwhile, appending a pipe with a head command limit the result to just 5. The second part is saying get the list of unique domain accessed by all workstation. So let's see how we can go about that. To do this, we will combine the sort and the unique command with the cut command. Remember, we are dealing with domain accessed, and when we go to the log file, let's see where the section for the domain is. Let me just display the head. So if we're taking a look at this, the domain is located, this is the first column, this is the second column, and this is the third column here. So this is the third column that is specifying the domain within the log file. So to do that, we're going to use the cut command, we're going to use the delimiter, and we're going to specify, the delimiter is going to be space, then we're going to specify the position, which is going to be 3, then we'll specify access.log. So this is going to display the domain column, but there's an issue. We want to just display only the domain and not the port alongside the domain. So what we need to do is to strip off the port number using the column delimiter. So to do this, we'll say cut, let's bring back the last command. We're going to pipe it into another command, which is cut. We're going to specify a delimiter, and our delimiter is going to be column. Then we'll specify position. Now, if we're splitting this using the column delimiter, we'll just be having 2 columns, one for the domain and the second for the port. So we are using the first one, and then we're just going to send. You can see now that we've completely stripped off the port number, and we are left with just the domain alone. So now what we can do now is to sort our domain. So let's sort it, and we can say sort. You can see the list has been sorted out. Now we can now specify the unique, because here we are asked to provide the unique. Let's see. So get the list of unique domain accessed by all workstation. So in order to use the unique command, you need to sort first, and that is the reason why we sorted the data first before we can apply the unique. So let's say unique and send. So these are the list of all the unique domain that we have in our log file. You can see there's no repetition here in the domain. So let's see what the next action is going to be. The unique command requires a sorted list to be effective because it only compares its adjacent lines. So that is the reason why we needed to sort in the first place. Okay, so we've done that. Let's see the next part. So the last part says display the connection count made on each domain. To do this, all we have to do is to just add the -c, which is the connection count, to the command, and this is going to list all the number of times that each of the domain appears within a log file. For example, this appears 284 times, this also appears 284 times, this appears 290, and so on. Then we can even pipe this. Let's see connection count. Okay, let's see what we can do. Okay, yeah, we can even sort it after providing the connection count. So we can go ahead and pipe this into sort-n, which is going to sort it according to the numbers. So now it's in ascending order, starting from, let's see, the lowest. Just scroll down. Okay, so the lowest number is 78, and the highest number is 4,992. All right, let's proceed. Okay, so based on the result, you can see that the count of connection made for each domain is sorted in ascending order. If you want to make the outputs appear in descending order, use the -r option. Note that it can only be combined with the -n option if written together. So if you want it to be in the other way around, you can just change this to R, and you can now see it is just in reverse order of what we have before. So let's proceed. You can play with all the above commands to test your capabilities, which we have done. Now we'll move to the section of hunting down the malicious traffic. Now that we have developed the skills needed to assist Forensic McBlue, let's get down to business. Alright, so in order to search for the malicious log traffic, we need to start hunting for suspicious traffic. Let's try to list the top domains accessed by the user and see if the user accessed any unusual domains. You can do this by reusing the previous command to retrieve the connection count for each domain, and then we'll pipe it into tail-n, which we are going to list the bottom value that we have. So basically what this is saying is bring back the last command. Let's see that command again, which is this command here. Then we're going to pipe it into tail, which is going to view the bottom content, and the number is going to be just 10 values. And this is going to display the 10 values at the bottom, which are the highest because we sorted the data in the first place. Now let's see what our next action is going to be. Note we use the command tail-n since the list is sorted in ascending order. If it is sorted in descending order, then you need to use the head-n 10. Now check the list of domain and you will see that Microsoft owns most of them. Out of the 10 domain, we can see one seems unusual. Let's use that domain with the grep and head command to retrieve the first 10 connection. Now let's go back and review what we have. You can see some of these commands are owned by Microsoft, like the office.com, login.microsoftonline.com, global sign. The one that seems to be a little bit out of place is the frostlings.bigbadstash.thm. So this is what we're going to be working with. And now the instruction says, let's use that domain with the grep and head command to retrieve the first 10 connection made to it. What's this? Let me just see if I can. This has expired. I can just, since we're not using this machine, let me just close this. And let's scroll down. Okay, yeah, I think we're here. Let's use the domain with the grep and head command to retrieve the first 10 connection made to it, and that is basically what is done here. So we're going to use the grep, the suspicious domain, then we're going to pipe it using just viewing the first 10 lines of the content, and this is going to display the content to us. So let's quickly do that. So let's grab our domain, copy, then we'll say grep. So remember, I can always add the ignore case. Then we're going to put this in quote, which is the domain, and we're going to pass this into the head command by viewing just the first 5 lines. Okay, sorry about that. I didn't pass this into the name of the file, access.log. Okay, so this is going to display the top 5 lines of traffic that are being sent or received by this particular domain. So let's go back and see what next. Upon checking the list of requests made to the redacted domain, which is the domain we are working with, we see something unusual with the string passed to the goodies. So let's see what we are talking about. Now if we take a look at the format, here we have the timestamp, we have the source IP, we have frostlings, which is our domain, and we have our method. Then we have some kind of parameters with a value. So we have the goodies, which is what we are talking about here. Okay, so let's see what we're going to do with that. So let's try to retrieve the data by cutting the request URI with the equals to. Okay, so from the knowledge we've gathered before, we can pipe this. Let's pipe this into, I'll remove the head for now. Let's remove the head and let's pipe this into cut command with the delimiter space first. Let's use space as our delimiter first, and then position. So this is going to be first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. So we are using the fifth column, and let's see what we've got. Good. So the next thing we need to do is we need to split this column by using the equals to, and to do that we can pipe this into cut. We're going to use the delimiter equals to, then we're going to specify the position. So if we're splitting with equals to, this is going to be first position and this is going to be second position. So first of all, we need to split. Let's see the one that we need. Okay, we need the second position. So let's go ahead and print out the second position. What's happening? Oh, I think I made an error. So this is supposed to be -d. Okay, cool. So we have our string that looks like a base 64 string here. Let's see what we're going to do next. So based on the format, the data sent seems to be encoded with base 64. So we can decode this. Let's go ahead and just pipe this into base 64-d, which stands for decode. And you can see this is going to list all the base 64 strings that we have on the log files. So let's see what we have next. Did you notice that the decoded data seems to be sensitive data for Antarctic craft? This might be the case of data exfiltration. So let's conclude. Congratulations, you have completed the investigation through log analysis and uncovered the stolen data. The next step of Forensic McBlue in this incident is to apply mitigation steps like blocking the malicious domain to prevent any further impact. So these are the list of some of the stolen data that we are after in the first place. For example, we have Samuel Toy, Robot Dog, Emma Teddy Bear, and a lot of data that we have here. So let's go back and see how we can answer some of these questions. So for example, the first question here says, how many unique IP addresses are connected to the proxy server? So now we are looking for unique IP addresses within the proxy server log file. If you go to the information we have here, let's just break this down. Let me just break it down by using, let's just use cat access.log. What's happening? Let's use cat access.log. Then we can pipe this into head and just display the first two. Now good. So we are dealing with the unique IP address here, which is going to be on the second column. So to fix this, we could possibly use the cut command. Cut. We specify the delimiter of space, which is what we are cutting with the position of 2. What's happening? Just exit this. So with the position of 2, we specify the access.log. Okay, cool. So we have the list of all the number of time each of the IP appears within the proxy log file, but that is not what we want. So what we can do is to apply a sort, then look for the unique IPs within the log file. So this is going to list the unique IP. So if you're having probably multiple unique IPs, you can append this or pipe it into the NL command, which is going to number it. So you can see that we have total number of 9 unique IP address within the log file. So we can go back and just put in 9 here and submit. That was correct. How many unique domain were accessed by all workstation? So just like the same way we did, let's go back and view the access log. Now we are dealing with unique domain. So this is going to be our domain name here. So we can cut by using the, let's remove all this. We can cut by using the column 3 access.log. So this is going to display all the domain name alongside the port number. Then we can pipe this, then strip off. We can strip off the port number using the column delimiter, just like we did in our exercise above. Then we can specify the position, which is going to be 1. So we want to just display the first position, which is from here to here. And then we can send this. Then we can sort. Then we can find the unique values. So after finding the unique values, then we can pipe it to the numbering lines. So we have total number of 111. So I'll just put that in here and submit. What status code is generated by the HTTP request to the least access domain? So what we're trying to figure out here is the status code generated by the HTTP request for the least access domain. So first of all, we need to find what the least access domain is. Then we're going to look at the status code that being generated by that domain. So let's go back to our terminal, and then I can just take this a little bit back here to where we have all the domains. Okay, sorry about that. Let me clear this. So this is a list of all the domain that we have. So what we can do is to sort it. Then you can view the count by passing this into the unique count, unique-c, which is going to count every domain. This is supposed to be unique. And let's see what we have. Then we can now sort this using the numbers. So this is what we have here. So this is the highest number and it is below the content that we have here. So what we're going to do is to view the top value. So we can pipe it into head and just view possibly the first one, which is going to be the list. So you can see that the list is this. We can also follow the recommendation in the exercise. Let's see if I can just figure that out. Okay, which is the sort-nr, which is going to do it in reverse order. So instead of using what I just did, I can, instead of using the head, you can go ahead and just sort nr, and you're going to have the one you need, which is the one with the least number of count. So the domain name is partnersservice.getmicrosoftkey.com. Now we've gotten the least access domain. So the next thing we are going to, okay, I think I'm using the last, okay, yeah. We've gotten the least access domain. What next we need to get is the status code that is associated with this domain. So let's go back. We can first of all use the grep command. So let's say grep, then we're going to put in the domain that we have. access.log. So we have all these value in here. So the next thing we need to do is we need to cut the domain, because we just need to access the status code only. So this will be the first. This is the first. This is the second. This is the third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. So let's go ahead and cut this using the space delimiter. Then position of 6. So you can see it here. We can find unique value if we have other status code aside from the 503 by using the pipe symbol. We're going to sort, and we're going to find unique. So fortunately for us, we just have one status code, which is 503. So I'm just going to put that in here and submit. So that was correct. So the next question says, based on the high count of connection attempts, what is the name of the suspicious domain? So we are considering high count of connection attempts, and we are looking out for suspicious domain within these connection attempts. So let's go to our terminal and quickly do this. So I can bring back our previous command that we had. So let's just take that off. So let's sort first. Okay, so we have duplicate. We can have unique -c. Okay, so we can sort -n according to the number. Then I can view the tail just like we did in the exercise earlier, which is 10. Now we're going to consider all these domains that we have here. Which one seems to be malicious? We have this is from Microsoft, Bing, Microsoft, Frostlings, Microsoft. So the one that seems out of place is the frostlings.bigbadstash.thm. So I'm going to grab this and let's fix it in here and submit. That was correct. The next question says, what is the source IP of the workstation that accessed the malicious domain? So what we're going to be doing is trying to use grep to find this domain that we have. Then we're going to be using the cut command to sift through the column in order to figure out what the source IP address is. So let's copy the frostlings and let's move to our terminal. So what we're going to do is use the grep. I can use the ignore case. Then we're going to paste the domain and we're going to close the code. We're going to use the access.log, which is the name of the log file. This is going to list all the lines that we can find the frostlings.bigbadstash.thm. So what we need to do now is to sort according to IP address, because we're looking for IP address, and also according to the domain that we have. So we can pipe this into the cut command and we can use the space as the delimiter. Then we change position to be 2, 3, because this is the second and this is the third. So let's see what we have. Okay, I missed something. Did I miss anything? Oh, okay, I think it's the space that's the issue. I'll just remove the space here. Okay, so we have all our content. So what we need to do now is to bring back the command, and then we can pipe this into sort. Then we can find the unique value. So you can see that this is the only IP address that is associated with the frostlings.bigbadstash.thm. So I'm going to copy this IP address and we're going to paste it in here. How many requests were made on the malicious domain in total? So to get this, we can just easily go in and just pipe this into the NL command, which is going to list the lines. I beg your pardon. Before sorting, I think it's before sorting, before finding the unique value, that is after sorting. So let's first of all get what we have. Okay, so we can then pipe it into NL. So we have 1581. Let's see if we are correct, which is correct. So let's see the last questions. Having retrieved the exfiltrated data, what is the hidden flag? Okay, so if we recall, in order to exfiltrate our data, the action we performed was, let's see, was this. So I'm going to grab this command. Let's just grab it up to here before we decode the data. And we're going to put it in here. And if you recall, our malicious domain is, let's remove this and put our malicious domain here. We can go get it from the triacme here. Okay, which is this. Copy, and we're going to paste it in here. So let's see what we got. So here we're going to list all the base 64 data. Then we're going to pipe it into base 64 decode. Base 64-D, which is going to decode all the data. And now we're looking for our flag, and we know the format of our flag starts with THM. So what we're going to do is to pipe it and use the grep command to look for the word. Make sure it's case insensitive, and the word we're going to be looking for is THM. I'm going to close this, and you can see this is going to give us our flag, which is for SOC analyst, and the flag is THM, a gift for you, awesome analyst. So I'm going to copy, and we'll go to the question, and we're going to paste it in here and submit. If you enjoy doing log analysis, check out the log analysis module in the SOC level 2 part. So we're going to click on complete. So guys, that will be all in this video. If you've learned one or two things from this video, please make sure you like, subscribe and share, and I'll see you in the next video.